Hello and welcome to this special Lightboard training video. Today I'm talking about negotiation. When does negotiation start? Starts at hello. All right, so what does that mean? It means that as soon as you upload a resume, you're going to be asked, what are your salary expectations? Right? And many of these job postings, they will not let you upload the resume. They will not let you complete your application unless you give them an actual range. Many of them won't even let you put in an asterisk or a zero or anything else. You'll actually have to put in a number and range. What do you do? Okay, a recruiter will reach out to you and say, we have this job title, this salary. Will you take it? They won't even tell you the company. What do you say? Right, you'll get on a phone screen. One of the first questions they'll ask you is, what are your salary expectations? Are you prepared for this? Very likely not if you spent your entire life in academia, but you need to be, because the way things can shift here, how fast things move, it can be the difference between being in a PhD level job, getting, in the US, maybe $150,000 to start. If you're a mid-career professional, maybe $200,000 to start. Or the other path, if you do this wrong, getting $80,000 and working for somebody who has their bachelor's. All right, so you really need to think ahead here because negotiation starts at hello. So I want to break this into like 3 different parts to help you get your bearings. The very first thing you need to do in your job search is get really good at deflecting. Right? Deflecting early negotiation attempts. So when they ask you those questions, you got to deflect, right? What are your salary expectations? Well, I'm really more concerned about the team I'm going to be working with and the skills I'm going to be gaining. Can we come back to this later? Or I'm sure it won't be a problem. Any reasonable offer will be considered. Now, what a lot of PhDs don't understand, especially after I teach this, is that employers are good at this. Hiring managers do up to 10, right? 10 interviews a day, 10 interviews a day, which really means that they're negotiating 10 times a day. They'll ask you 10 different times to put you into a corner to try to get you to agree to a range. And because you'll be uncomfortable because you haven't done this before, you will want to do it. You will have the need to express yourself in the range just to get it over with. And that's where we lose as PhDs. So I want you to get good at deflecting. You got to get comfortable with it. If it asks you for a range when you're uploading your resume, give them a lower range. Right? You want to deflect, just get through, blow by it, blow it off. Seriously, I'm sure it won't be a problem. If they keep pushing, you can say, well, I defer to you. I haven't, this is the first job I've gotten hired into, so I'm sure you've hired many people into it. Whatever you think is reasonable, I'm sure we won't have a problem. If they push you again, you can be kind of playful. Well, what's my value to the company right now? Right? So if you get pushed and pushed and pushed, just deflect. It's the person who stays relaxed and comfortable that wins here. And you can both win. You can come back to it later. Worst case scenario, I get this question a lot. What's the worst case scenario? What if they say, hey, you can't move forward in the interview unless you give me a number? Okay, if this is a negotiation strategy, they don't mean it. I mean, if they do, you don't want to work for that company, but you can just be very transparent, right? And you can say, well, I've heard that if I give a number early that it might be used against me and I haven't learned a lot about the company yet. Is it okay if we come back to this later? If you really need me to give a range, I can. And if they push you, give a lower end of the range, right? Same thing when you upload your resume, because early on, they're just trying to exclude people or anchor them low. If they try to hold you to that later, you can say, well, I've learned a lot about the company since then, and given what I've learned and the skills I'm bringing to the company, I really think we should bump up that number quite a bit. Which brings me to number 2, right? So the second phase is you want to ask questions. You need to have an open dialogue. And again, most PhDs, likely yourself included, are very uncomfortable doing this. What you want to do, what you'll feel the desire to do, is to email them. They'll send you an email. Maybe they'll even give you an offer, and you'll want to email back and hope that they keep getting back and forth to you so you have time to think about your responses. This is the worst thing that you can do. Why? Because the ace up the sleeve of any employer is something that many of you have faced. Let's see if we can get Blue to work here, right? Radio silence. The radio silence strategy. This is painful, right? You try to get a response, you send an email, silence, cricket. Send an email, silence, cricket. Send an email, and you keep waiting. They know they can make you sweat just by not responding, and you won't pick up the phone. You want to have conversations with them in person on the phone. Now, this is once you actually have the salary contract in hand. You shouldn't do any actual negotiation. You should actually stay right here. This is your zone until you have a salary contract in hand. Until that happens, you have no leverage, okay? So you want to get that contract. And then once you have that contract, you can start asking questions, and then you can go to number 3. I'll put number 3 over here. Maybe I'll use this color, seems to be working better. Number 3, which is, you can actually negotiate. You can bracket, right? You can start talking actual numbers here, right? So, and then make concessions. So what do concessions look like? I recently helped a PhD negotiate their salary, and their base was a $200,000 base. Their signing bonus was $30,000. They got a $40,000 bonus over the first year. I mean, this was a great offer. And even though it was great, you still want to negotiate because it shows your value. If you've ever had somebody accept a deal from you too quick, all of a sudden you start thinking, oh man, I should have asked for more. It leaves like a sour taste in your mouth. So you always want to ask questions. You always want to negotiate. Now, this particular person really wanted to get $5,000 to set up their home office. Right, so one of the things that I do when I work with PhDs in our Cheeky Scientist Association Diamond program is that I make them make a list of concessions of everything that they want, right? Not a list of concessions, but a list of the terms, everything that they want, right? Starting with salary, that's the most important, then moving to the signing bonus, then, things like maybe an early review, stock options, equity bonuses, all these kind of things. Then the smaller things at the end, like another week of vacation, or you need to, you got a wedding coming up or something like that. Right? When you get these things all listed out, you can start asking questions like, well, if I get my salary increased by $20,000, could I make a concession to not need the money to start up the home office, to not need that reimbursement? So 2 things came up with this particular person. I said, well, okay, so $5,000 for the home office, the relocation is going to be about $15,000, so that's $20,000 total. What if we got your salary increased by $20,000 and we got your signing bonus doubled? Right, so that overall would have been an extra $80,000, a lot of it recurring, versus the $15,000 or the $20,000 for the other 2 smaller things. And because those were 2 small things that you could give up at the end, you could concede them and let the other side feel like they won. All right, so you need to have a plan for this, which brings me to my last couple of points here. You need to have a walkaway number, right, or numbers. Right, a number for the salary, a number for the signing bonus, etc. If you don't have a walkaway number, and if you don't have options, then you are not negotiating. You know what you're doing? You are begging. I talked to so many PhDs that get these really lowball offers because they had no idea how to create leverage during the entire interview process. Negotiation is not this small thing that occurs at the end. It occurs at hello, the very beginning. And you have to start building leverage and adding value, showing value as much as possible. How do you show value? I'm going to put 2 things at the bottom here. Right, value, you want to show specificity. I'll explain this in a minute. And rationale. Is it staying on there? Can we squeeze it in? Okay, specificity and rationale. Specificity and rationale. What do I mean by that? I was talking to another PhD recently, and they said, I'm interviewing, but I'm not getting the job offer. Can you still see my eyes? I'm interviewing, but I'm not getting the job offer. And I said, well, what are you doing? They're like, well, I'm talking about the value that I'm going to bring, right? I'm saying, like, I really want to work here. I can learn fast, all this stuff. When you're not specific about the value you're going to bring, though, you just sound like you're saying yes. You're saying very flimsy, kind of topical, right, kind of rah-rah, enthusiastic things. You want to be engaged for sure, but you want to show the employer, hey, these are the specific problems that I can solve, right? These are the specific things that I can bring to your organization that you specifically said you wanted. Use their words. On your job posting, you said you wanted A, B, and C. I can bring you A, B, and C. That's how you build leverage through the job search process, leverage as in value that allows you to ask for more during salary negotiations. Also, give them rationale. Don't just say, I really want to work here. I really like your company. Why? Why did you apply to this job? Why do you want to work at our company over any other company? You know the value of rationale as a PhD. Specificity and rationale and, right, finally, and I already talked about this, so specificity, rationale, specificity, and options. Options equal levers. If you get a job offer from a company, the first thing you should do is go to every other company you've been talking to and say, I just got a job offer, but I want to work at your company for XYZ reasons. Right? As long as there's reasons, every company can be your top choice for different reasons because every company wins in the marketplace in some area or they wouldn't be in business. You want to go back to them and ask them, can we get on the phone? Can we get the interview to happen earlier? Can you send me an offer because I really want to consider your company? And you got to tell them very boldly why you want to work at their company, or else they're going to think that you're using, any offer they give you to negotiate with another company. So go back to the companies you're really interested in, try to drum up a couple of other offers. That's the dream scenario. So hopefully this sheds some light on negotiation, right? So if you are interviewing, you're already negotiating. If you're uploading a resume, you're already negotiating. So be ready, be prepared. Hopefully this helps you. As always, remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional.